Chosen one. These bullies have targeted you for way too long, and they're not going to see this coming. The energy they sent your way has been quietly reversing, and now it's about to explode in ways they never imagined. Someone in their circle is cracking under pressure. While they've been busy mocking your growth and tracking your every step, the universe has been tracking them. Now the mirror is turning. The same schemes they used to break you are about to destroy their own foundation. You didn't have to fight back. Divine order handled it for you. And when this truth surfaces, they'll realize they were never untouchable. They were just unprepared for karma's timing. You've got a strange family dynamic at play. Maybe it's an actual family member who never got over their jealousy of you. Maybe it's an ex who can't stop comparing everyone to you. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's worse than both. Because what I'm seeing is something twisted. I'm seeing connections that shouldn't exist. Relationships that were happening behind your back while you were still in the picture. Betrayals that go deeper than you even realized. That ex of yours? They moved on to someone close to you. Someone from your circle. Someone who was in your life while you two were together. And they've been together this whole time, playing house, acting like their connection is pure when it was born from pure spite. This wasn't love. This was revenge wearing a relationship costume. Two people who bonded over their shared inadequacy, their shared need to prove they won by getting together. But here's the thing about relationships built on that foundation. They rot from the inside, and the smell is starting to show. This person you used to deal with keeps checking for you online. They keep asking mutual friends about you. They keep driving themselves crazy trying to figure out how you're doing so well, because you blocked them everywhere. You made yourself invisible to them. You moved in complete silence, and that silence is absolutely destroying them because they need to know. They need to monitor. They need to maintain some sense of control over the narrative. But you took that away. You disappeared into your healing. And now they're scrambling for scraps of information like a detective obsessed with a cold case. Every time someone mentions your name in a positive light, watch what happens. Watch how this person's energy shifts. Watch how they shut down the conversation. Watch how they get visibly angry. Watch how they remind everyone of old mistakes you made, or old drama that no one else even remembers. They're working overtime to keep the hate alive, because if the hate dies, their entire identity crumbles, because who are they without you to be the villain in their story? Not everyone in their little hate club is buying what they're selling anymore. Some people are actually impressed by your transformation. Some people are watching your journey and thinking maybe they had you wrong. Maybe the story they were told doesn't match the person they're seeing. Maybe someone's been lying about who the real problem was all along. These thoughts are spreading through the group like a virus. Quiet thoughts, private doubts, questions people are afraid to ask out loud because of how this ringleader reacts. There's tension building, arguments starting. People are getting tired of hearing your name come up every single time they gather. They're getting uncomfortable with how obsessed this person is. They're starting to wonder if they're enablers to something unhealthy. And soon, very soon, someone's going to break rank. Someone's going to speak the truth. Everyone's thinking, this has gone too far. This isn't normal. This needs to stop. These people have been studying you. They want to know your secret. How is your skin glowing when you should be stressed? How do you look younger when they're aging rapidly from all the hatred they carry? How are you more radiant now than when they knew you? They're convinced you have some trick, some advantage, some unfair blessing, because in their minds, hurt people should look hurt, damaged people should look damaged. But you broke that rule completely. What they don't understand is that peace has a face, healing has a glow, inner work shows up on the outside. While they were busy plotting your destruction, you were busy reconstructing your entire life from the foundation up. While they were spreading poison about you, you were detoxifying your mind, body, and spirit. While they were digging your grave, you were planting a garden, and now you're blooming right in front of their eyes, and they can't comprehend how it's possible. They want to know what you're eating, what products you're using, what routine you're following. They want the external formula because they can't fathom that the transformation is internal. They want the shortcut because they're not willing to do the deep work. They want your results without your process. And that's exactly why they'll stay stuck while you keep ascending. All those conversations they had about you, someone recorded them, maybe not literally, but mentally. Every word is stored. Every plan they made, every scheme they discussed, every line they crossed. There's a witness, there's someone who was uncomfortable but stayed quiet, someone who went along to avoid conflict, someone who's been carrying this weight and is about to set it down by telling the truth, and the truth is about to come out in the messiest way possible. They're out at a club, drinks are flowing, guards are down, someone mentions your name, maybe someone new who doesn't know the full story yet, maybe someone who heard you got a promotion or moved to an amazing place, and that's when it happens. That's when someone who's had too much to drink says too much. That's when the confession tumbles out. That's when they admit what they tried to do to you, and there's a witness who's going to remember every single word, someone who's going to realize just how far these people went, someone who's going to understand that this crossed from gossip into something darker, something potentially illegal, something that requires consequences, and that information is going to travel, it's going to reach the right people, it's going to set off a chain reaction nobody saw coming. Legal terms are about to start flying, words like harassment, defamation, conspiracy, depending on what they did, potentially worse. Things are about to get official, things are about to get documented, things are about to have real-world consequences that affect jobs, reputations, relationships, maybe even freedom, and suddenly this game they were playing is about to become very, very real. If this message speaks to your soul, hype this video so other chosen ones can discover it. Watch what happens when that pressure hits. Watch how fast that solid circle dissolves. Watch how quickly loyalty evaporates. Watch how fast people claim they barely participated, they were just going along, they never really agreed with it. Watch how friends become strangers when self-preservation kicks in. The person who led this charge is about to find themselves completely alone, abandoned by everyone who was supposedly on their side. But let's talk about you for a minute. Because while all this is building toward an explosion, you're somewhere living your best life. You're not even thinking about these people. You're not obsessing over revenge. You're not waiting for karma to strike. You're genuinely healed, genuinely happy, genuinely unbothered, and that might be the most powerful thing about this entire situation. You moved in silence while your success made noise. You healed in private while they gossiped in public. You focused on your own growth while they focused on your downfall. And now the gap between where you are and where they are is so massive they can barely see you anymore. You're not just ahead of them, you're operating on a completely different level, a different frequency, a different dimension of existence. They're still down there feeding on negativity, fighting over scraps, bonding through hatred. You're up here breathing clean air, attracting genuine people, creating from abundance. They're trapped in patterns they refuse to break. You're free in ways they can't even conceptualize. They're stuck replaying old wounds. You're busy creating new wins. They're looking backwards. You're moving forwards. They're sinking. You're soaring. You're not just surviving. You're not just getting by. You're not just okay. You're genuinely thriving. Your life is actually good. Better than good. You're experiencing joy they can't fake, peace they can't purchase, confidence they can't counterfeit, and it shows. Everyone can see it. The transformation is undeniable. The glow is unmistakable. The energy is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to you now. Opportunities are opening up. Doors are appearing that didn't exist before. The right people are entering your life at the right time. Resources are flowing toward you. Blessings are stacking up. And all of this is happening because you chose yourself. You chose healing. You chose growth. You chose to become the person you were always meant to be instead of staying the person they tried to make you. That choice changed everything. That decision to walk away, to block them, to move in silence, to focus on yourself, it was the most powerful move you could have made. Because while they were busy trying to destroy you, you were busy building an indestructible foundation. While they were attacking, you were ascending. While they were plotting, you were prospering. And now the evidence of your elevation is everywhere, and they can't deny it anymore. All that energy they've been putting into hating you, It's about to boomerang back and hit them with devastating force. All those traps they set for you, they're about to fall into every single one. All those plans they made against you, they're about to backfire spectacularly. Because that's how spiritual law works. What you put out comes back. What you sow, you reap. What you send out into the universe circles back to you multiplied. They sent out hatred. Guess what's coming back to them? They sent out sabotage. Guess what's about to sabotage their lives? They sent out destruction. Guess what's about to destroy the little world they built on lies? This isn't revenge. This isn't you doing anything to them. This is simply the universe balancing the scales. This is karma completing its cycle. This is justice serving itself without you having to lift a finger. And the timing is perfect. Just when they thought they got away with it. Just when they thought their secrets were safe. Just when they convinced themselves you'd never find out the full extent of what they did. That's when everything comes crashing down. That's when the truth explodes into the open. That's when consequences catch up to actions in a way that leaves everyone speechless. Here's what they're not going to see coming. The lawsuit, the legal action, the official investigation, the formal complaints, the documented evidence, the testimony from witnesses, the confession from someone in their own circle who got tired of protecting them, the paper trail they didn't know existed, the recordings they didn't know were made, the proof they thought was hidden. All of it is about to surface. All of it is about to become public knowledge. All of it is about to change how everyone sees them. And there's no spinning this. There's no explaining it away. There's no claiming it was just jokes or just venting or just talking. The intent was clear. The actions were deliberate. The malice was undeniable. And now it's time to face the music. Your ex specifically is about to have their world turned upside down. That person they left you for, that relationship that was supposed to prove they won, it's falling apart because you can't build something real on a foundation of spite. You can't create lasting love from temporary revenge. You can't sustain a connection that only exists to hurt someone else. The cracks are showing. The fights are getting worse. The truth is becoming impossible to ignore. They made the wrong choice, and they know it. They left someone real for someone convenient. They traded authentic connection for shallow validation. They gave up someone who actually loved them for someone who just wanted to stick it to you. And now they're stuck, trapped in a situation they can't admit was a mistake, drowning in regret they can't voice, realizing too late that what they had with you was actually what they needed. But it's too late. You've moved on. You've healed from them. You've released them completely. You don't wonder about them anymore. You don't care what they're doing. You don't wish them harm, but you also don't wish them back. They're just a chapter you've already finished reading, a lesson you've already learned, a version of yourself you've already outgrown, and that indifference is killing them more than hatred ever could, because hatred means they still matter. Indifference means they don't. Hatred means they still occupy space in your heart. Indifference means they're completely removed. Hatred means they still have power over you. Indifference means they're powerless. And they can feel that shift. They can sense that you're truly done, and it's destroying them. Meanwhile, you're over here living in a completely different reality. You wake up grateful. You move through your day with purpose. You interact with people from a place of wholeness instead of woundedness. You make decisions based on what you want instead of what you're afraid of. You show up as your authentic self instead of a defensive version created to protect against hurt. You're free in ways you've never been free before, and that freedom is about to expand even more. Because when the truth comes out about what they did, you're going to feel vindicated without even needing the vindication. You're going to be proven right without having to defend yourself. Your side of the story is going to be validated by their own actions coming to light. Everyone who doubted you is going to understand. Everyone who believed their lies is going to see clearly. Everyone who questioned you is going to apologize. You won't even need those apologies by the time they come. You won't need the validation. You won't need everyone to know you were right. Because you've already moved so far beyond needing external confirmation. You already know your truth. You already understand your worth. You already recognize your power. What other people think or say or believe doesn't define you anymore. They've been studying your social media presence like it's their thesis project. Every mutual friend becomes an informant. Every chance encounter gets reported back. Every piece of information gets analyzed and picked apart. They're building an entire case file on you in their minds. Except the evidence keeps contradicting their narrative. You keep winning when you should be losing. You keep glowing when you should be wilting. You keep rising when you should be falling. And this creates cognitive dissonance that's tearing them apart. Their brain can't reconcile what they want to be true with what's actually true. So they create explanations. You must be faking it. You must be hiding something. You must have had help they didn't have. You must be lying about your happiness. Because if you're genuinely doing well, if you're genuinely healed, if you're genuinely better off without them, then what does that say about them? It says they were the problem. It says you were never the issue. It says everything they told everyone about you was projection. It says they're the toxic one, the damaged one, the one who needs serious help, and that reality is too painful for them to accept. So they double down. They get more aggressive in their gossip. They get more creative in their sabotage attempts. They get more desperate in their need to prove you're not really okay. But desperation makes people sloppy, and they're getting very, very sloppy. They're leaving digital footprints they don't realize are being tracked. They're making threats they don't realize are being documented. They're having conversations they don't realize are being remembered. Every move they make against you is actually building a case against themselves. They're basically creating their own evidence file for the consequences that are coming. Here's something specific that's about to blow their minds. That family member who's been involved in this whole mess, they're having serious regrets. Not moral regrets, not genuine remorse, but practical regrets. Because being associated with your ex is starting to damage their own reputation. People are talking. People are noticing the connection. People are asking uncomfortable questions. And this family member is realizing they traded their relationship with you for a relationship with someone who's actually destroying their standing in the community. The arguments between them are getting intense. Your ex is demanding more loyalty, more support, more validation. This family member is starting to feel suffocated. They're starting to see your ex clearly for the first time. They're starting to understand why you left. They're starting to recognize patterns of manipulation and control that they thought only applied to you. Turns out your ex treats everyone this way. You weren't special in your suffering. You were just the first one to get strong enough to leave. And now this family member is trapped. They can't leave without admitting they were wrong. They can't stay without losing themselves. They can't tell the truth without facing consequences. They can't keep lying without losing their mind. They're in a prison of their own making, and watching you be free while they're trapped is torture they inflict on themselves every single day. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation, and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose, and the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology. The same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition, and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. But let's talk about the specific ways these bullies have been trying to sabotage you. Because this isn't just gossip, this is calculated interference. They've been trying to poison professional opportunities, making phone calls they shouldn't make, sending messages they shouldn't send, planting seeds of doubt with people who could help you. They actually invested time and energy into trying to block your blessings. They researched ways to damage your career. They strategized about how to hurt your finances. Think about how sick that is. How twisted you have to be to spend your time plotting someone else's failure instead of building your own success. How empty your life must be to make someone else's destruction your hobby. How broken your spirit must be to find satisfaction in trying to break someone else. These aren't just bullies. These are deeply wounded people who never healed their own pain, and now they're trying to spread that infection to everyone around them. But here's what they didn't account for. Protection. Real protection. The kind that doesn't come from restraining orders or blocked numbers. The kind that comes from being aligned with your purpose. You were being guided away from their traps before you even knew traps were being set. That job opportunity that fell through that disappointed you. It fell through because accepting it would have put you in direct contact with someone they'd already poisoned against you. That relationship that didn't work out that hurt at the time. It didn't work out because that person was feeding information back to your enemies. Every closed door was protecting you. Every rejection was redirecting you. Every disappointment was actually an appointment with something better being arranged behind the scenes. You thought you were navigating this alone, but you were never alone. You had invisible hands steering you away from danger and toward destiny. And your enemies could feel that protection even if they couldn't see it. That's why their attacks kept missing. That's why their plans kept failing. They weren't just fighting you. They were fighting forces beyond their comprehension. Now let's get into what's happening with their mental state right now. Because this is where the obsession has turned into something clinical. Your ex specifically is experiencing something close to delusion. They've created an alternate reality where they're the victim and you're the villain. They've rewritten history so many times they actually believe their own lies now. They genuinely think they were good to you. They genuinely believe they did nothing wrong. They genuinely see themselves as the injured party. This is what happens when someone refuses to take accountability for years. The lies become the truth in their mind. The narrative becomes their reality. They're not consciously lying anymore. They actually believe the fiction they created. And that makes them dangerous in a different way. Because someone who knows they're lying might have limits. Someone who believes their own lies has no limits. They'll go further, do more, risk everything. Because in their mind, they're justified. That's why the confession is coming. Because delusional people eventually slip up. They get so deep in their own story that they forget other people aren't living in that same false reality. They say things assuming everyone agrees with their version of events. They reveal plans thinking everyone supports those plans. They confess to actions thinking everyone understands those actions were necessary. And that's when the mask falls off. That's when people see them clearly. That's when everything unravels. The family member involved in this situation is playing a different game. They're not delusional. They're calculating. They knew exactly what they were doing when they got involved with your ex. They knew it was a betrayal. They knew it would hurt you. They chose to do it anyway, because they wanted what you had. They wanted to be chosen. They wanted to matter. They wanted to feel special. And your ex was willing to give them that feeling in exchange for loyalty against you. But calculated people make calculated mistakes. And their mistake was underestimating you. They thought you'd crumble. They thought you'd cause a scene. They thought you'd give them drama they could use as justification. Instead, you disappeared. You went silent. You healed privately. You gave them nothing to work with. No reaction to manipulate. No anger to point at. No breakdown to use as evidence of your instability. You just removed yourself completely and left them with nothing but their own guilt and the growing realization that they traded something real for something fake. Here's what's eating this family member alive: the comparison. They're constantly being compared to you by your ex. In fights, your name comes up. In quiet moments, your memory surfaces. In intimate moments, they can feel your ex thinking about you. They're a replacement, and they know it. They're a substitute, and they feel it. They're second choice, and they live it every single day. And that knowledge is rotting them from the inside out. They tried to become you, copying your style, adopting your interests, even changing things about themselves to be more like you. But it doesn't work, because you can't become someone else. You can only be a cheap imitation, and your ex knows the difference. Your ex feels the difference, and no matter how hard this family member tries, they'll never be you. They'll never have what you and your ex had, because what you and your ex had was real, even if it was toxic. What they have is performance. It's hollow. It's held together by spite and secrets, and those secrets are getting heavier. The weight of what they've done is becoming unbearable. The guilt is manifesting in physical ways. Sleep problems, health issues, anxiety that won't quit, depression that's getting harder to hide. They're deteriorating under the pressure of maintaining lies and pretending everything is fine. Meanwhile, you're blooming, you're glowing, you're healthier than you've ever been. The contrast is stark and everyone can see it. They worked hard to destroy your name. They told stories that painted you as unstable, difficult, problematic. They carefully crafted a narrative that made them look innocent, and you look guilty. And for a while it worked. People believed them. People took their side. People saw you as the problem. But reputations built on lies don't last, because lies require maintenance. You have to remember what you said to whom. You have to keep the details straight. You have to make sure everyone's story matches, and over time the cracks appear. Inconsistencies show up. Details don't add up. People start asking questions, and once doubt creeps in, it spreads like wildfire. Now people are looking back at situations with fresh eyes, remembering things that didn't make sense at the time, recognizing patterns they missed before, seeing manipulations they fell for, and slowly, quietly, the tide is turning. People are starting to realize you weren't the problem. People are starting to see who the real problem is. People are starting to understand they were played. This shift is causing panic in your enemy's camp, because reputation is currency in social circles, and theirs is being devalued rapidly, while yours is appreciating. People who stopped talking to you are reaching out. People who believed lies are apologizing. People who took sides are switching sides. The social isolation they tried to impose on you is bouncing back and isolating them instead. One of their mutual friends, someone who's been neutral this whole time, someone who's heard both sides but stayed out of it. This person is about to make a choice. They're about to publicly align with you, not because you asked them to, not because you manipulated them, but because they've seen enough, they've heard enough, they've watched this whole situation play out, and they can't stay silent anymore. And when this person speaks up, when they share what they've witnessed, when they confirm suspicions others have been having, it's going to start a domino effect. One person speaking truth gives others permission to speak their truth. One person breaking away gives others courage to break away. One person saying the emperor has no clothes makes everyone else admit they see the nakedness too. Your bullies are about to lose their audience. They're about to lose their support system. They're about to lose the social structure that's been enabling their behavior. And without that structure, they're going to have to face themselves. They're going to have to sit with their choices. They're going to have to acknowledge what they've done. And that reckoning is going to break them in ways you never could. Because you couldn't break them. You could only expose them. And exposure is coming from all directions now. From witnesses who stayed quiet too long. From friends who enabled too much. From family members who protected when they should have corrected. From their own mouths in moments when guards drop and truth slips out. The exposure is inevitable. The timing is perfect. The consequences are about to be catastrophic for them and liberating for you. You're not even invested in their downfall anymore. You're not sitting around waiting for karma. You're not checking to see if they're suffering yet. You're genuinely living your life, building your dreams, creating your reality, loving yourself, healing yourself, becoming yourself. And that detachment is the final insult to their ego, because they need to matter to you. They need you to be thinking about them. They need to occupy space in your consciousness, and you've evicted them completely. That's the ultimate power move. Not revenge, not retaliation, not exposing them yourself, but healing so completely that they become irrelevant. Moving on so thoroughly that they become history. Rising so high that they become invisible from your new altitude. You're not better than them because you're vindictive. You're better than them because you're free. And freedom is the victory they can never take from you. That's spiritual maturity. That's true healing. That's real power. When you stop needing the world to validate what you already know about yourself. When you stop requiring recognition for the work you've done. When you stop seeking revenge because you understand you've already won by becoming who you are. You're standing at the finish line of a race they're still trying to run. You've already claimed the victory they're still fighting for. You've already received the peace they're still searching for. You've already become the person they're pretending to be. You've already won and they just don't know it yet. But they're about to find out in the most devastating way possible, because chosen ones don't win by destroying their enemies. They win by becoming so successful, so healed, so elevated, that their enemies destroy themselves trying to keep up. They win by shining so bright that the people who tried to dim their light burn out from their own hatred. They win by being so authentically powerful that the contrast exposes everyone else's pretending. You didn't have to plot. You didn't have to scheme. You didn't have to gather your own circle to hate them back. You just had to be you. Real you. Healed you. Powerful you. And that was enough. That was more than enough. That was everything. So now as all of this comes to a head, as their world starts crumbling, as consequences catch up, as karma completes its work, you just keep doing what you've been doing. Keep healing, keep growing, keep shining, keep winning by living authentically and powerfully and unapologetically. Keep being the living proof that you can go through hell and come out the other side, not just surviving, but dominating, because that's who you are. That's who you've always been. That's who they couldn't destroy no matter how hard they tried. A chosen one, someone marked for greatness. Someone protected by forces they can't see, someone destined for a level of success and happiness and peace that they'll never touch. The bullies who targeted you for way too long are about to face something they never prepared for. Not your revenge, not your anger, not your retaliation, but the simple devastating reality that you won. You won by healing. You won by growing. You won by moving on. You won by becoming untouchable. You won by choosing yourself over and over again until you became someone even you didn't know you could be. And that victory is sweeter than any revenge could ever taste. That peace is deeper than any vindication could ever bring. That power is realer than any external validation could ever confirm. You claimed it. You earned it. You own it. You own it. And nobody can ever take it away from you again. They thought they broke you. They actually made you. They thought they ended you. They actually launched you. They thought they won. They actually lost everything while you gained everything that matters. And now they have to live with that reality while you get to live in the paradise you created from the hell they tried to keep you in. This is your moment. This is your victory. This is your vindication. Not because of what's about to happen to them, but because of what already happened to you. The transformation, the healing, the evolution, the complete and total reclamation of your power, your peace and your purpose. Welcome to the other side, chosen one. Welcome to the life you always deserved. Welcome to the version of you that nobody could stop from emerging. This is just the beginning. The best is yet to come. And they're not going to see any of it coming, because they're too busy dealing with the consequences of trying to stop what was always meant to be. You rising, you shining, you winning, you dominating life on your own terms in your own way, with your own power, that nobody gave you, and nobody can take away. That's the story. That's the truth. That's the victory. And it's all yours.